Drop it on the random.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of That Time in Hip Hop, a podcast about history and nostalgia in hip hop music and culture, but more importantly, the preservation of hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast. With me, as always, rocking a Yankees hat, the homie Tony of IntoTheDome.com. What's good, man?
Look, man, so little water tonight. You know, I'm trying to make sure I'm drinking healthy and cycling, man. So everything is good, man. So I got some water tonight. No devil's nectar tonight.
Yeah, I had some early. It was 70 degrees outside. I think it was like 75. I was like, I'm going outside. So it'll be cold tomorrow and shit. But if you're watching or listening to this podcast for the first time, this is what we do. We talk about hip hop history, all types of moments. There's no East Coast, West Coast, South Coast bias on this program. We have literally covered damn near all aspects of hip hop and artists. And we got a special show for y'all today that you don't really see happen a lot on a lot of other shows. But our point is to bring light to the culture and to some of those people who don't get their flowers, but they still here. You know what I'm saying? So if you like this show, subscribe, hit a like button, comment if you hear say something that you agree with or disagree with, or maybe you have a thought. Leave your comments in the comment section below. But more importantly, share it with people you know, hip hop heads that you know that might be like, damn, man, I be trying to watch TV, I be trying to listen to the radio, but they playing this or they talking about that. If you know this is the type of show they get into, this is the type of conversation that they like to hear about, put them on. Share this podcast with people you know will enjoy this kind of content. Now, we like to get into a little segment we called This Month in Hip Hop. And this month in hip hop on March 5th, 1991, Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs released their debut album entitled Life of a Kid in the Ghetto. Kind of like Good Kid, Mad City, but way before then. You know what I'm saying? A very dope and unique album at the time, especially content-wise, man, because if you hit play on this album, I guarantee you hit play on this album today, you'd be like, damn, first couple of tracks, this dude is just really like, just knowledge being poured out on a number of different subjects. Tone, when you first, well, let me just say this for those who know and don't know, had singles like I Got to Have It, which was huge for around most hip hop heads, but also had a song called Be a Father. And that one really stuck with me because I just didn't expect to hear that as a follow-up single, like, you know what I'm saying, on a hip hop record. But that's what the 90s was about. And that's what you need to learn. Tone, when this album came out, Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs, what did you think about the music? What did you think about Ed O.G. as an MC?
So I first heard Ed O.G. on his first song was like Bugaboo, something like that, like Bugaboo. And I was like, yeah, Bugaboo was pretty cool. That's funny. You know what I'm saying? It was all right. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, dude can rap, but you know, it wasn't that special to me. Then I heard I Got to Have It, and I saw that video. It was like in black and white, grungy. It was that Boston joint. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, this song is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt right. You know what I'm saying? Then he came back with that Be a Father to Your Child, man. This is one of those hip hop moments where 30 years later, the song still sounds fresh. It's still relevant. How many kids in the ghetto grew up without their father? How many times that, you know what I'm saying, these guys disappeared from these kids' lives and then the streets raised them. So G was dropping signs like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, be a father to your child, bro. You had a child, be a father, your child needs you. You know what I'm saying? So he was dropping signs throughout the album. He was dropping jewels, but he was kicking that hardcore Boston, you know what I'm saying, street rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, he's like one of the first, if not the first guy who like put Boston on the map. You know what I'm saying? And this is a very dope album. I give it like 4 mics. Man, it was hard bodied, good production. I like the videos. You know what I'm saying? NOG is a great MC, man. Like he's still throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, he was still making good music. And just real quick on a side note, he did this joint with Pete Rock. That's all he did. I think he did an album with Pete Rock, but he had a song called Boston. That's one of my favorite songs of the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, this is a very dope album, man. 90s was about, you know, you couldn't just make a dope song or 2 or 3 singles. You know, I think that the artists, you know, they try to specialize in making good total bodies of work, man. And this is a very good album.
Yeah.
Salute to him.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think a lot of people forget, right? Like they might remember that record, may remember lines off of it, but forget little details, like you said, about the variation in singles from Bugaboo. Bugaboo was more like what East Coast 90s hip hop was in 1991. You know what I'm saying? But I Got to Have It was a different feel. And like to me, Be a Father hit me in the same way that Brenda's Got a Baby did, right? Like you just don't expect to not only hear a song like this, but for this to be a single with a video. But that, again, that's how the 90s was. You had to be an artist, you know what I'm saying? And Ed OG is still doing his thing, man. If you go to your favorite streaming service, you realize he has a lot of projects, current projects that are out.
Good projects.
Still dope. Yeah. And he's still dope. So definitely, man, check that album out if you can. Ed OG and the Bulldogs, man. It's a dope album, a dope way to go back and look at 1991. And again, representing Boston. You know what I'm saying? I remember at one point when I was younger, everybody that rapped to me came from New York until they said some shit, and I was like, oh, like the Roxbury, okay, Boston, oh shit, okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's a dope history lesson for some of y'all who weren't aware or those that you know, didn't grow up at that time. It's a dope album to go check out. And remember the context. This is 1991. Beats, the rhymes, everything, man. Dope album. But we're going to get into the topic at hand in celebration of Women's History Month. So we're going to do it our way, in a way where we got a lot of flowers to give out today. So Toe, bring us into the segment for today's show.
Listen, man, hip hop been around since the early 70s, and to even imagine hip hop without the contribution of these women is unheard of. There is no hip hop without the women, because people think about the B-boys in the early, you know, with the black Latinos and stuff like that. No, the girls, B-boys and B-girls. They call them B-boys and B-girls because the girls was part of hip hop from its inception also. The girls was breakdancing. The girls was carrying crates for some of the DJs. The girls was helping hype the parties up. The girls was bringing their home girls to the house parties, to the block parties, to make sure the fellas, you know what I'm saying, had they fun and eye candy and they vibing together. So the women have been part of hip hop since day one. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, the women say, hey, we gonna get involved in this microphone. You know what I'm saying? And before we get into like all of these legendary MCs throughout the last 30, 40 years, I'll be remiss if I didn't talk about the Funky 4+1, MC Shyrock. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think about 1978, 79, when the Funky 4+1, they ended up being the first rap group like on TV, on a TV show. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And Shyrock was the female MC. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, hip hop is from the Bronx. MC Shyrock is from the South Bronx. You know what I'm saying? She used to girl break dancing, do graffiti, everything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, people, please do your research on MC Shyrock, because she's considered like the mother of hip hop. The first female MC on wax and on a song and on a TV show is MC Shyrock. You know what I'm saying? So let's not get it twisted, man. So you got to pay homage to her. Anyone can go back on Fat Joe's podcast when he's talking to Funk Flex, and Fat Joe was just all, yo, Shyrock this, Shyrock that, because Fat Joe's from the Bronx. He understood that growing up, like, yo, he remember from 4+1, and he remember loving MC Shyrock. He talked about when he finally met her later in his career, he couldn't believe it because the one woman to him. You know what I'm saying? And they had the track "Rapping and Rocking the House" in the 70s. In 1980, they had the joint. Let me see this. That's the joint. You know what I'm saying? And Shyrock was rapping, and she was rapping on both of those songs. You know what I'm saying? Again, she was kind of like the face of the Funky 4+1. I know it say +1, but they always made sure they gave her a little shout out, a little intro in their songs and stuff like that. You're gonna show her some love. You know what I'm saying? And Shyrock went on to, you know what I'm saying, represent the culture. She wrote like a book in like 2010. You know what I'm saying? She taught she done a few interviews over the years. She's like 59, 60 years old now. You know what I'm saying? So she's like the queen. You know what I'm saying? She's the mother of, that lineage of female MCs, man. A lot of people don't use her first. They talk about the people after her. But what we want to do here is Rock her flowers. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean that's just what she was, man. She was just a big deal, and she started this thing that other females, someone has to start the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Start the inspiration so they can go down to Roxanne Shante and Salt and Pepper and that family tree, and we'll get into all of that at some point, man. But I'm just really glad to talk about the ladies, man, and we're gonna get into detail, man. But I want to give a shout out to the Funky 4+1 and especially MC Shyrock because she is the best thing.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the origins of hip hop. Like a lot of times with anything in history, right? Like as time goes on and things get older, people romanticize the things they want. You know what I'm saying? They lift up the people they want to lift up. And a lot of people get forgotten. Some people don't realize that there were white people who were B-boys and B-girls. You know what I'm saying? They didn't dominate the culture, obviously, but they were there. There were Puerto Ricans were just as much as a part of that movement as blacks were. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. One more thing real quick. DMC from Run DMC have said before on interview when he was younger, MC Shyrock was one of his inspirations. You know what I'm saying? And also a rumor was MC Light was also influenced by Shyrock too. So I just wanted to make sure people know DMC of Run DMC was listening to the Funky 4+1, and the person that stood out to him was Shyrock. You know what I'm saying? And same for MC Light. So I make sure I added that in real quick before we move on to, what I'm saying, that lineage after her. I want to make sure I thoroughly gave them on the mic, which they used to call her, her just due, man, because so many people who are hip hop heads and love hip hop don't know about the Funky 4+1 and MC Shyrock. That was on Sugar Hill Records back in the late 70s. This is before Melle Mel and Grandmaster Flash. This is before, this is around the time when Keepers 3 first came out. This is before a lot of the great artists that end up being legends in the game. They were before all of them, and she was the female face of that group.
Yeah, I think again, one of the things that people forget is the ladies were so much a part of hip hop from, like Tone said, from the MCing to even down to the graffiti and the fashion. You know what I'm saying? They as much as the dudes had the B-boy look, there was a B-girl look to go with that. And Shyrock, like Tone said, stood out because it wasn't just she rhymed. I'm pretty sure there were others that rhymed, but she was confident. You know what I'm saying? She was just as confident, if not more confident, than her male counterparts. And she was literally the blueprint for not only female MCs to come after her, but like Tone said, an inspiration to DMC of Run DMC. And I mean, we don't even have to do a show on them for y'all to really know how big they turned out and to basically spawn, or set the standard for what a female MC in hip hop looks and sounds like. is just dope. And like Tone said, man, you just don't hear her name enough. So I'm glad this is where we start, you know what I'm saying, with this episode.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And again, you're looking at several years later, you know, you have, 15, 16-year-old Roxanne Shante out of Queensbridge, and these wars against, what I'm saying, terrorists one and, all these other fake Shantays and the Roxanne wars that was all over the country every time she toured. Different fake Roxanne trying to battle her after shows and before shows. And, it became a whole phenomenon with Roxanne Shante when she was able to take what Chirac started to another level, thanks to Marlon Marr, the bridge, and just the, support for, for what she was doing with the battles and things like that and being part of the Juice Crew, So, that lineage goes down from Chirac to Shantae. And then right after that, you're talking about Salt and Pepper totally changed the game because they get the commercial success that Shantae didn't get because Shantae was mostly doing singles for the most part at the end of the day, and Salt and Pepper, and props to Herbert Lovebug, he saw an opening and said, you know what, we're gonna be the female Run DMC, you know what I'm saying, and we're gonna respond back to the show and we're gonna do little disses and we're gonna try to get in the game, and it worked out. They were cute, they had the sexy, and then Salt and Pepper took it to another level where now you have to say, you know what? It's not just underground, because Shantae at the end of the day is kind of like an underground rapper. You know what I'm saying? But Salt and Pepper made it to the radio. Salt and Pepper made it to the house parties, right? They made it to the to the club. You know what I'm saying? And really, hip hop from a female perspective was never the same after Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, I think the thing that Salt and Pepper did, and obviously this is no disrespect to any of the ladies that came before them or even were rocking at the same time, was they brought the sex appeal, right, to their art. Whereas the fellas, we had the Canes and we had the smoothed out dudes like Father Emcee and people like that, LL Cool J. But a lot of times in the 80s in particular, the ladies kind of had to be like the dudes, right? They had to sound a certain way, they had to dress a certain way, behave a certain way. Whereas Salt and Pepper embraced their sexuality and being women, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of they broke the mold in a lot of ways, because as much as we love the girls that could spit, if you could make dope records and then you had people like me and Tone who were younger at the time looking like, damn, I wish one of them could be my girlfriend. I mean, it's going to sell records. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the ladies looking at them. Right? You love some. And they showed up in Coming to America also, if you saw that movie. But yeah, I think you're right, man. I don't think, I mean, they were, but I don't think I ever looked at it that way, right? They were like the female Run DMC. They were large.
Huge.
Mm-hmm. But one thing I wanted to bring up too around this time that I think that's dope, right? Like, so you got Salt and Pepper who come across as like on par with like a Run DMC for the ladies, and you got Light doing her thing, and you got Queen Latifah doing her thing. But I thought it was dope when Yo-Yo hit the scene, because I was like, oh wow, so we got like off of that NWA tree, obviously there were other groups, but I think Yo-Yo stood out, right, a little bit more to me. Because she was paired with Ice Cube, and we didn't really see that type of I don't know, it felt like Ice Cube used his star power at the time to kind of elevate Yo-Yo. When you first heard Yo-Yo, what was your thoughts?
Yo, man, don't play with me, Yo-Yo. Man, but I was a big Ice Cube fan. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody from his camp. You know what I'm saying? I thought she was cute for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought she had a dope look. dope voice. She was sexy too. You know what I'm saying? Like she had her own little sexy thing, but she was hard. You know what I'm saying? So she had a nice blend. She had a nice blend of the B-boy, B-girl, but also cute and sexy at the same time, man. So, I wish she could even been larger, but she had her moment. You know what I'm saying? I think, Ice Cube tried. He pushed her and she made a name for herself. And, to this day, a lot of people know that name. They know Yo-Yo. They know some of her work and some of her albums and songs and stuff. So she made her mark, man, for the West Coast. She's kind of like the queen of West Coast hip hop, because she's pretty much at the time the most famous female rapper on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at just the West Coast in general, they never had too many famous female MCs. Unfortunately, most of them came from the East Coast and from down south and the deep south. But the West Coast never had many, female MCs that came to prominence. And just on a side note, real quick, when Warren G came out with Regulators, he had this group called the Five Footers. You know what I'm saying? And they had this joint called Walk Away. That was on like Jason Lyric soundtrack, and they had a joint that was on Warren G Regulator album called Super MCs. They were very dope. They had a dope album too. They had a song called The Heist. They were the only other female MCs from the West that I was really rocking at the time, man. So yeah, the Five Footers, man. But yeah, Yo-Yo was pretty much the face of West Coast female MCing, man. And I wish she could have been larger, but she did make her mark, man. And I was a fan.
Yeah, and they were when you think about it, right? They were the standouts, whether it was East or West Coast, and then there were like female MCs here and there that were trying. Like you had JJ Fad, but that never really popped off in a way,
That was it.
Yeah, exactly. You had on the East Coast, what you had, Finesse and Sequence. I just remember seeing them in magazines mostly back in the day. So there were a lot of ladies in the game, but like Tone said, especially on the West Coast, like something about Yo-Yo was different. Maybe it was because she was being co-signed by Ice Cube. Go ahead.
So real quick, we'll look at this family tree. We're talking about Shy-Rock, then Shantae, then who other Shantae? Well, kind of the Light and Latifah. I don't want to miss that moment when MC Light and Queen Latifah, their work was so good that all the men in the industry had to take note and show them love. And the fans really loved what MC Light and Queen Latifah was doing because they were versatile. They both had dope voices, dope flows. They put out dope albums, great singles that still can play right now in the club. And before we get to the newer era, I have to talk about, MC Light has several great albums. She has songs like Paper Thin that still play now. You know what I'm saying? Poor Georgia play now. You know what I'm saying? Roughneck. She has these legendary songs. Latifah comes out, great debut album, other great projects. Then she drops that classic album, Black Rain. And then you have songs like UNITY, you know what I'm saying? Just Another Day. And even right before that, she does The Ladies First with Moaning Love. And that's a hip hop like anthem, especially for women. Ladies First. It was a great video. It was a great message. Queen Latifah and Moaning Love, their chemistry was amazing, which always made me wonder why they didn't do more work together. It was strange to me. They did this song. I mean, Latifah and Moaning Love could have done an album together back then. I mean, they were just so insane. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Moaning Love was from Europe, and she had the dope accent, and she was just kind of showing the love that hip hop was getting overseas. Moaning Love was one of the first foreign MCs like that, as far as like really getting down and end up being with the native tongues and of course Latifah was still kind of part of, even though she's the flavor unit, she was still down with the native tongues. You know what I'm saying? So this is when it starts, when women start to be a part of crews. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that ended up being something that we'll get into detail with, something that went on for the next 20, 30 years when a woman ended up joining a crew. You know what I'm saying? As the first female of that crew. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of started with Latifah, with the Flavor Unit, and of course Moaning Love with the Native Tongues.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to miss that out. And also, real quick, we did talk about the West Coast. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the Lady of Rage after Yo-Yo, because the Lady of Rage, first thing first, she set up Snoop Dogg album in 5 mic classic style. Lady of Rage is a monster, MC. You know what I'm saying? And Death Row dropped the ball with Lady of Rage, because when Afro Puffs came out, I think on the soundtrack, she was all over Snoop album. She was popping. She had the lyrics, the voice, the aggression. And for whatever reason, maybe it was some internal stuff going on with Death Row. Of course, there was always stuff going on with Death Row. Her album didn't drop till like 97 after Death Row was dead. You know what I'm saying? So they totally screwed up the Lady of Rage platform that she had, because if you drop the Lady of Rage album produced by Dr. Dre right after Doggy Style, you're talking about an album that sells 2 or 3 million records, because the Dog Pound ended up selling millions of records.
Yeah.
You know, Lady of Rage was going to be huge. Yep. And they dropped the ball with the Lady of Rage. So you have Yo-Yo and, again, the Lady of Rage, who I didn't mention earlier, man. So, now we're talking about we're in the 92, 91, 92, 93 era. And the ladies are starting to make some steam, man, but it's about to really get sick soon, but they making some steam.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with what you said about Rage, man. It was like her work on The Chronic, and then, like you said, her intro on Doggy Style, man. You can't even get to the rest of the record. You know the rest of the record is going to be fire, because the anticipation of Snoop alone was huge. But you just did not expect Rage to spaz at the beginning of that album like that. And she was completely set up to just, like you said, drop her album next, and she's out of here. But
out of here,
like Tone said, man, Death Row, man, it was just making too much money for their own damn good. They just had too much going on, and they completely dropped the ball. Because I remember that too. Even my anticipation was high for her album following Doggy Style. And you talk about 97, we done been through mad different things in hip hop where we're not even thinking about Rage. You know what I'm saying? Or Death Row for that matter. Yeah, Pac is already gone. Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, man, one person I do want to shout out before we move on, probably, I guess she kind of really got popping late 80s into early 90s, if not just early 90s. But on Def Jam, I want to shout out Nicki D. Mainly because Nicki D singles ain't really do much. Like, she had Daddy's Little Girl and stuff like that. But for the people in NY who know Video Music Box, it was the video television show on public access that a lot of your favorite MCs from that time, you got exposed to their interviews. A lot of the videos you see on YouTube, like the one where Nas and Biggie's on stage and other dude like White Nas head, like these were the type of things we would get to see from these artists we were hearing on the radio late at night. And because Video Music Box covered all of it, more than Stretch and Bobbito and all of that. And I remember seeing Nicki D, and I remember them interviewing her first, and dudes was like, yo, Nicki D be battling dudes. Same way Roxanne Shante did. But I remember watching her do it, and I was like, damn, she's nice, but her music don't really reflect it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was kind of probably something we can get into in a little bit of like almost like a stereotype, right? Like she's a hard MC as a lady, so they want to give her a song like Daddy's Little Girl. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a woman. I like it too, but when I saw her like on stage at a club spitting, I'm like, I want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think she did it sometimes, but we didn't get enough of that for her as an artist. But she's a name that just never really gets mentioned but there was a lot of males and females who didn't want to fuck with her at all.
Yeah, she was pretty dope though, man. I remember hearing all of her singles and a lot of her music, and I thought she was good, man. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, her time didn't last long, but again, we know her name, so she did something right.
Yeah.
But you know, when we started getting into the mid 90s, it started to get real because now you don't have one female MC here and there. You have quite a few. You know what I'm saying? They join the crews, and you have your, of course, the legendary Lil Kim because she's with Junior Mafia and Biggie always pushed them. You know what I'm saying? And Kim became a star. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, Kim became a star. We had a show on this before with Kim and Foxy. You know, Foxy does the Ain't No Nigga with Jay-Z, and then she joins the Firm, and she drops her album right around the same month or whatever. Lil Kim drops Hardcore, and they got some kind of internal beef, but they both have taken hip hop at the time to like the sex appeal, raunchy, whatever the dudes can say. We're gonna say it as well, but they join these crews, the Firm. And you got Nas, AZ, Cormega, and all this, and then Nature, but you got Foxy with them, and Lil Kim was with Bad Boy, Junior Mafia, you know what I'm saying, and Biggie, you know what I'm saying, and at the same time you have this, Jermaine Dupri gets the Brat down in Atlanta. She's from Chicago, and she's the first female artist to go platinum. You know what I'm saying? With Funktified, and this, and she was popping, and she had lyrics and the flow, and the Brat. People look at her now. No, the Brat was the MC. She was rugged.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you have that going on at the time too, and we still talking about this mid 90s where at some point you got your Bahama Deal, you know what I'm saying, who's one of my favorite female MCs, who she was an underground MC. I think she's from like Philly somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And she's a great MC, and her album, the Collage or something like that, produced by Primo, hard beats, hard rhymes. If you go back and put that album in right now, Bahama D's debut album, it will surprise you how hard it was. Real East Coast 90s boom bap hip hop. It's an amazing album, one of my favorite, and we'll get into that too. We can name our favorite like 5 or 6 female albums, man, but that's definitely one of mine, man. So Bahama D was popping, and then we'll get back into the later 90s, man. But what do you think about that mid 90s? And did it come out of nowhere for you from New York? Did it surprise you how large some of the ladies became or whatever?
I think Kim, like we said before, when it came to sex appeal, Salt and Pepper kind of set the standard for and really the limit for where that went. But you had more female MCs who came out that were more like Queen Latifah or MC Light. You had the ones that came out trying to go off of sex appeal to follow Salt and Pepper wasn't always great, right? Because they were missing the good music. They probably looked good as hell, but they were missing the music. And I feel like when Kim and Foxy came out and their lyrics were just, the opposite of raunchy. Like if Coogee Rap is raunchy as hell on the male side with songs like Talk Like Sex, Kim and Foxy was like the female version of that, but they looked good, they could spit, and they were kind of like counterparts, you know what I'm saying? And I was surprised by it because I hadn't heard anything like it, but I also felt like, damn, it's about time, you know what I'm saying? Because at some point I used to feel like certain female artists that would come out, they would, make music that would placate to, hey, we the ladies. But when Lil Kim is like, yo, I'm drinking babies and these niggas is scared of me, I'm like, oh shit, like, you're not used to hearing that in hip hop. So I welcomed it, and I thought it was dope because you had more of a variety, and it was a smart idea on the part of the people. I guess in Kim's case, Biggie, to have them really use that sex appeal. And now you got songs like WAP. Like if it wasn't for Kim and Foxy, like they could never make a song like WAP back then and have it played on the radio, let alone in the daytime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It would have been people at churches stepping on their CDs and all that. But now you see, it's cool.
Laura
Oh yeah, she would have been all over that. Like, these ladies should be ashamed of themselves. She would have been going in. But
you know, that mid-90s, you also had, man, of course we'd be remiss if we don't talk about Missy Elliott, man, when she dropped that Super Duper Fly, but when she first dropped that I Can't Stand the Rain or whatever, I mean, it was like, we never seen nothing like that before. And I was like, wow, I never heard a beat like that before. I didn't know who Timbaland was at the time. I'm like, yo, that's a crazy beat. Then I see the video, and I'm like, wow, that's real, you know, innovative. Because obviously, you know, Missy Elliott is like the female version of Busta Rhymes on steroids. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I was just like, wow, and she definitely changed the game. She probably got 10, 15 club classics. Like the reason why I said most people wouldn't even want to do a versus against Missy Elliott, male or female, because she gonna have a party rocking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to deal with Missy Elliott. You talking about one of the most creative MCs in hip hop history. Male, female, doesn't matter. There's not too many people more creative than Missy Elliott. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't name more than 3 or 4 people. I'm not even gonna try to name nobody right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we were seeing. You got your Rod Diggers, you know what I'm saying, with the Flip Mode Squad. Again, we got another female who is with a crew. You know, Rod Digger with the Flip Mode Squad. Eve is with the Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? First lady of Rough Riders. You know, so we getting into the whole thing of, okay, we got a dope crew, but we need a female MC to battle the lead female MC of the other crews. So that became a thing as well in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah. And I think it was, to me, it was dope because none of them were whack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't feel like somebody was just like, oh, just grab a female MC and throw in the crew because that's the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Bars. But Eve had her own dopeness. You know what I'm saying? Kim had her own dopeness. They stood out, man. Like, when you think about songs like I Shot You that got Prime Prodigy, Keith Murray, Fat Joe, and LL on it, and Foxy's verse is just as dope. You know what I'm saying? She's literally the only female in this video with a ton of dudes around who are like kings of hip hop at the time, and she's holding her own.
Yeah, you got that situation. You got Gangsta Boo with 3 6 Mafia. You got Mia X. You got Mia X with No Limit. The female for No Limit. They popping off. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know, so, you know, again, like I said, Trina, you go Trina with Trick Dad and his crew. You know what I'm saying? And then you got then something real special happened around that time in the mid-90s too. It was a song came out called Nappy Heads by these kids called the Fugees, and some girl named L Boogie. And I was like, okay, well, I ain't seen nothing like this before. You know what I'm saying? In 96, the score dropped, and I'm like, this is the best female performance on a rap album I've ever heard. I'm talking about from the flow, the lyrics, the style, the versatility. Like, she could do anything on the mic. And I was like, okay, this is okay. I never seen nothing like this Lauryn Hill. Like, I thought the Fugees debut was good, you know, as far as, like, you know, vocab and all that. I thought she was dope. I'm like, yeah, that little chick is cute. She's dope. But when the score came out, I was like, okay, this something special right here. I'm anticipating because I was like, she's a star. She's a star. What is she gonna do next? I'm anticipating some kind of solo album in a few years. She's gonna be special. And Lord have mercy, she drops the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. One of the greatest albums in the culture, not even just the hip hop culture. The Miseducation is one of the greatest albums in American music history, straight from she's an MC first, but she rhymed on here, she sang on here, She did reggae on here. She did gospel on here. She gave you everything a artist can give you on an album.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing too, right? Like she's a part of this group, but she's clearly the standout. Like she's clearly the standout talent. You know, as talented as Wyclef is on the mic and even musically, Lauren is just stood out on every track. It's kind of like, you know, when you first heard Leaders of the New School, or you know, in situations like that where you think the group is dope, and then you hear Busta, and you like, but that dude's special. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how you felt about Lauren. And when you think about it, Tone, like even before her album, Lauren was like, it was just hit after hit. The score was already doing work from the singles like Ready or Not, just going crazy with it, right? And they had a couple soundtrack joints. She had the Love Jones song and shit. She
Oh my God.
wrote a song for Mary J. Blige. Like she was on fire, you know what I'm saying? And she would like, I think we've said this before. Yeah, we've said this before. Like people don't understand when it's one thing to read about something on the internet or go watch the videos of the time we told you about, but it's another thing to know that somebody is literally the biggest artist in the world, winning all the awards. You know what I'm saying? Might have been a little too overwhelming for her after the fact, but still, she made a hell of a mark in hip hop to the point where some people like to say, you know, who's the greatest female MC of all time, and they'll say Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, they'll say that.
I don't say that. I wouldn't argue that.
Absolutely, and they'll also say if Lauryn Hill would have stayed, I guess, quote unquote, focused and made more rap album, people would consider her potentially one of the greatest MCs of all time. You know what I'm saying? So she's in that kind of discussion with the talent she had. But real quick, back to, you know, just the way these crews made sure they had a female representative. You know, Remy Ma was part of Terror Squad. You know what I'm saying? And Big Pun discovered her. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, Nicki Minaj ended up being part of Young Money. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, you just got a lot of, you know, and those probably the last ones who were part of big crews that I can remember. You know, we'll get into the newer era, but I think that Remy Ma and Nicki Minaj, Nicki Minaj is probably the last one that's affiliated with a big crew. You know what I'm saying? Most of the female MCs now are more independent in terms of they're not really linked to, you know what I'm saying, no kind of crew.
The last thing I heard was you saying Nicki Minaj is affiliated, and then it kind of spazzed out.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Nicki Minaj is the last female MC that was associated with a crew. Like I said a second ago, Remy Ma was with Terror Squad, Discovered by Pun, etc. Fat Joe, and when she got out of being incarcerated, she got back with Fat Joe and had a second half of her career that was excellent for her. So as far as Nicki Minaj, she's probably the last superstar attached to, you know, a conglomerate, you know, a record label as the female face of that. Most of the females now, they're more independent in terms of they're not linked to anyone else. When you think of the Doja Cat and Megan Thee Stallion and even Cardi B, you know, I know she's on TV at first before she became a huge star, but even right now, she's not really linked to 3 or 4 dope male MCs. You know what I'm saying? She's outside of the Migos, who with them, but she's not a part of their crew. You know what I'm saying? She's part of her own crew. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, you know, and even up to now, you know, you have your Rhapsodies, who is part of Ninth Wonders Camp, and she's kind of the face of Jammer Records. You know, I'm here in North Carolina, so of course I know about them. But so I guess she might be the last one because she's somewhat hit some stardom. You know, she's pretty popular at this point now in the culture as far as like her peers respect her. Primo and Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, people. She's under Rock Nation management, so she has kind of made it. So I guess she will be the last one in a clique to a degree.
Yeah, to a degree. And what is dope because when you think about all those different names and styles of MCs, you can draw a line to a lot of different people that we name, right? You can draw a line from the Megan Thee Stallions and the Nicki Minaj and the Cardi B, straight back to Lil Kim and Foxy, straight back to Salt and Pepper. Same could be said for like a Rhapsody and a Rod Digger. You can draw a line of them back to like the MC Lights and the Queen Latifahs, even the Nicki D's in some regards, because I think Rod Digger is definitely cut from that cloth when it comes to like hard rhymes. And again, the things that they did to make a mark, not only as their style and things like that, but something like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill being the only female MC to go diamond. That recently came up. That recently happened. And if you don't know what diamond is, that means 10 million records sold for her album. She's the only other hip hop company she has is what? Eminem, Pac, Biggie, Nelly, I think that's it. Outkast, yeah, and Lauryn Hill, and that's it. And we got to give, even though some people may feel like, well, it's not my kind of hip hop, but Cardi B, Bodak Yellow is the only females MC to have a single gold diamond. And when you think about it,
that's huge.
That's huge because you would have thought it happened already, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? So maybe some people came close, but she's the first to do it, so you got to give her a props for that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And that's a massive success for that single. And just real quick, since we talk about singles, man, any listeners, I would just kind of challenge you to go back and listen to a few anthems that the ladies have spawned over the years. And let me give you a few real quick. Again, we talked about Ladies First with Queen Latifah and Moaning Love. Unity with Queen Latifah again. As you can see, Queen Latifah was a big fixture in the culture. Let's Talk About Sex with Salt and Pepper. You know what I'm saying? That's a big song, man. Very conscious song. You know what I'm saying? Lost Ones with Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? We got to look at Paper Thin, and Poor Georgie with MC Light. She even had a song people slept on called Eyes of the Soul. You know what I'm saying? So you have some big. So it wasn't just the Kim and the Foxy, the raunchy type of sex influenced rhymes. You have a very diverse plethora of songs, man, from these female MCs over a span of 30 years. So they're not in a box. All of these MCs they're totally different, man. You know what I'm saying? They brought something totally different to the game. None of them sound alike.
Nope. That's kind of the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? Because is again, when you look back at history, sometimes people want to remember what they want to remember. They want to remember certain artists more than others. And when you look back and we start naming all this stuff, that's one thing that's consistent. They were all unique in one way or another. What were you gonna say?
Question for you, Dave. It's two-part question. We might as well go here real quick. Who's your personal favorite? They gotta be the best. Who's your favorite female MC, and who are your top 5 female MCs?
Shit. All right. I'm not prepared.
Okay.
Favorite female MC. It's probably Kim. And I think she kind of earned that over time because it was probably MC Light before that. I just think I only picked Kim because MC Light was dope, but again, back then she even though she stood out, I was accustomed to female MCs looking and sounding that way. Lil' Kim was shocking to me, you know what I'm saying? And even after Biggie passed, I found myself liking, you know, a lot of songs and albums that she dropped. Not the recent stuff, but even when, yeah, exactly, like what she did with Junior Mafia. I mean, Quiet Storm remix. Like, I mean that right, yeah, you know what I'm saying? When
Emcee Light Rock.
Yeah, like when you thought, oh man, Biggie's gone. Well, that's it for Kim. Kim held her own and kept going, and it wasn't like the music got worse. She capitalized off of her fame and her stardom, and she kept it going. Again, she set the blueprint for a lot of these female MCs you see today. So I would say Kim, but a very close second is MC Light. Top 5, I'd go with Kim, Lauren, MC Light, probably Rod Digger, because I always thought Rod Digger was dope, and Rhapsody, because Rhapsody, when I first heard her, it was like a breath of fresh air, because she's so many different things to me that I like lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did something that Kim did, but in a different way. Like, Kim spoke raunchy in the same way that men did, and I liked it because I felt like I could listen to it. I mean, dudes were saying Kim's lines that they wouldn't say if it was like, you know, my boyfriend song, some cute shit. We wouldn't even sing that shit. Or we were singing her raunchy shit like she was a dude. Rhapsody, to me, and I'm not, ladies, I'm not trying to say I'm like no chauvinist pig, don't want to hear what you got to say, but Rhapsody made me care about the songs where she talked about relationships, because I think she rapped about it in a way that related to males on the outside about what she wanted. It didn't, like, some, and I'm getting myself in deep water, but some women in the past would rap about relationships, but it was always an antagonizing thing as opposed to what their feelings were about the situation, whether it was fuck this dude or they just trying to get a nut, whatever the case may be. And I feel like Rhapsody, she makes that shit so you can listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying she's a relationship rapper, but at the end of the day, she's good. Her delivery is perfect. Her words are perfect, and it makes you want to listen to whatever she has to say, and it never gets old. So,
yeah, just on that real quick.
I think that's my top 5, and I have some others.
Yeah, and just real quick on Rhapsody, man. Like, to see where she is right now is amazing. To show the hard work, the grind, the sacrifice. I can just tell you real quick. I remember one night I was in Raleigh, and I went to one of Nine's 95 Live. He used to throw a party every month called 95 Live. We played all 90s hip hop. It was an underground club that he did it at. And, you know, I remember being in there one night, and he was like, yo, man, let me introduce you to my new artist, Rhapsody. She was young. You know what I'm saying? She looked like a little girl at the time, and she was real quiet, real humble. And I had heard like 2 or 3 of her songs from her first little mixtape. And I remember telling her, I said, yo, you serious with it, man. Like, I can tell you love the culture, man. Like, I just wish you well, yada, yada, yada. Knife has been telling me about you, man. Like, you know, good luck with everything. You know, it was really kind of one of those things like that, pounded up and kept it moving. But I'll never forget, years later, he had hit me one day like, I told you, bro. I told you. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was telling him he was stupid for pushing her like he was pushing her. And he was pushing on Twitter. He was pushing all her projects. And people was dissing her and him on the low. Like, yeah, dude, you wasting your time pushing this chick when you can be pushing other people. But he was like, yo, he saw the star potential in her, man, and she worked so hard, man. So shout out to Rhapsody, man. Like, it's just crazy to see how she's elevated herself. Now, for me, well, my favorite female MC is MC Light. You know what I'm saying? And I've always loved MC Light. I was listening to MC Light last night. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got the dopest voice I ever heard in my life. I just love her voice. I love the way she rap. I love the way she talk. You know what I'm saying? She's got the dopest voice, man. I just always love MC Light. So it's some nostalgia, but she's my favorite. I got all her stuff. I love MC Light. Now, when we talk about the best, you know, if we're gonna go pound for pound in terms of someone's talent, you know, Lauryn Hill is like Mos Def. Like their talent is off the Richter. It just depends on how much they want to put into it. You know what I'm saying? No female MC is more talented than Lauryn Hill. And I would say that Lauryn Hill, probably pound for pound, if she would have kept rhyming, she probably would have cracked the top 10 for me. You know, so I've said this forever. And Kumo D said this in his book. There's a guy on the mic that came out back in the early 2000s about Lauryn Hill was right there in his top 10. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so she's probably the most gifted female MC and one of the most gifted rappers, period. So the top 5 for me, I would probably say Lauryn Hill's the best. MC Light. I can't sleep on Latifah because the different styles that Latifah can give you when she putting an album or a song together. You know what I'm saying? Queen Latifah is an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like it can't be overlooked. Now, my sleeper, outside of Lauryn Hill, probably the best straight rapper female I've ever heard is Jean Grae. You know what I'm saying? Jean Grae is like she's one of the best rappers I've ever heard. She's phenomenal. So I would have Jean Grae there. And I probably will round that out. I have to round it out with Kim because when you think of the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj, they straight Kim's daughters. Those are Kim's daughters. You know what I'm saying? But Kim got a dope voice, dope flow. You know what I'm saying? Kim knew how to come on a remix of any kind of song and tear that shit up. She had the flavor. You know, I gotta give Kim that other spot. I can't have Kim not in that 5. You know what I'm saying? And my second tier, of course, you get your, you know what I'm saying, your Rhapsodies and your Rod Digger. Rod Digger can spit. You know what I'm saying? My Bahama D is one of my favorite female MCs, period. So I'm gonna tell you, man, the ladies got some shit, man.
Yeah, it's a nice variety, man. Like you said, if Kim and Foxy's style of rapping don't do it for you, there's Bahamadia, there's the Rhapsodies, there's the Lauryn Hills, there's even people like Heather B. You know what I'm saying? Who definitely could spit. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't just a co-host on Sway's morning show, and she ain't just from the real world. Like Heather B was nice.
Oh no, Heather, all Glocks down.
All Glocks down.
Yeah, man, Heather B has some dope albums too, man. Like, don't get it twisted. She rocked with KRS-One and a couple other people. She put work out. You know what I'm saying? Like Heather B rap. You remember the Boss? Remember Boss?
Boss, yeah, man. That was another one that was dope. Like there was so many. That's the thing. Like it's again, like we said in the beginning, right? For as many male MCs that we know and we herald and we say their names all the time, there was people who made their mark who maybe had an album or had a single or two that was dope, but kind of get forgotten. It was the same way with the ladies, man. When Boss came out, there was nothing like her. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing like her record. Like it was crazy.
She had that joint deeper. She had the appetite for destruction or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Do you remember that little joint on Sugar Hill, a soundtrack that everybody wanna play my phone. That Simple E.
Oh yeah.
Wanna play my phone. That was dope, man. I remember that. I remember Nonchalant, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Nonchalant, man. Like, it was they had a lot, man.
Yeah. Or like, look, Paula Perry. I never understood why Paula Perry was dope, man. I just never understood why it ain't really pop for her. Man. And go ahead.
I don't know. Quick question, real quick, man. Like, what's your favorite 1 or 2 albums by a female MC? Take it out, Miseducation. Take out Miseducation.
Take out Miseducation. I gotta go with. I'm definitely gonna go with Hardcore, right? Because to me, like out of all my Kim albums that I like, and it's not that many, but that was the one. That was like the conversion for me. Like, yo, this shit is just dope. Like, period. Second, I would probably maybe Light as a Rock.
I had that
Because
on there as one of my favorites.
yeah, that was to me when I first heard Light as a Rock, I was just like, yo, this MC Light is dope. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, it ain't just a single. This shit is fucking, she got songs in here that's like classics
yeah.
now. So that's probably like for me, like two albums. And then like a runner up is and I gotta mention this definitely on this type of podcast, but Rhapsody's Eve from 2019, which was basically dedicated to females in general, but definitely
Yeah,
females in hip hop also. Queen Latifah had a hell of a verse on that album, like at this
she
point
did.
in time.
She got busy.
Yeah. And I really like, to me, I really like that, because I like a lot of, if not all, Rhapsody's albums, but I really like that one in particular because it not only sound dope, but she also embraced the concept and executed it, and her flow was different on different records because that's
She
one thing people
definitely,
like to say.
yeah, she elevated her flow. It was a lot more versatile on Eve.
Exactly. But yeah, man. So what's your two?
Well, Bahamadia Collage album, man, it might be is one of my favorite albums. Period. So it's gonna be that one. And I'm probably gonna go with Lil Kim Hardcore. Look, first of all, that production on that Hardcore album was insane. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Hardcore and Bahamadia album. I also really love Queen Latifah's Black Rain album. You know, Missy
Mm.
Elliott Super Duper Fly, Rhapsody's Eve album. I really like that joint too. So yeah, but I would say Kim and Bahamadia, my favorites.
Well, if you're watching this podcast and you got something to say about any of what we discussed, definitely leave your comments in the comment section below, man. This is a show to salute the ladies in hip hop, their impact, their successes, the variety as we've displayed for y'all. It didn't matter if it was South, East, or
Yeah,
West. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, we lived through everything we named. You know what I'm saying? Whether we was in the club, whether we wanted that to be our girlfriend. Is that Yo Yo in the background? Yeah, that's Yo Yo.
yeah,
Like we were on it, you know what I'm saying? As hip hop fans as well, it wasn't just about the imagery, but the imagery is natural, right? We're men, so it's going to be that way. But we also respect them. We own their music, and it's just dope to talk about it, especially during Women's History Month. So leave your comments in the comment section below about this topic. And keeping along with that, we like to recommend, beyond everything we already recommended, something you should go back and listen to. And my recommendation for this week is out of the year 2008. It is from somebody who Tone mentioned, Jean Grey, featuring the production of Ninth Wonder, and it's called Genius. This album is crazy. Well, what really was dope about it, before you even press play, is they had several album covers that basically depicted classic
yeah,
albums. So the one I have
yeah.
is the Raekwon and Only Built for Cuban Links cover, but they had one that was like Das Effects, right? And
Black
there was
Sheep.
another cover they did. I can't remember. Black Sheep. Did they do Paid in Full? I feel like they did a Paid in Full one.
I don't remember Paying in Full, but I remember the Black Sheep one.
Maybe Black Sheep. Okay. But nevertheless, you heard what Tone had to say about Jean Grey being nice. That's not an understatement at all.
Super nice.
Jean Grey is like, I remember when she was like getting really sour about the hip hop game, and I just really felt like she's too dope to not make any more music.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? She's just too nice. I've heard her, like Ski Beats had this compilation a while back. I can't remember the name of it, something Karate School, whatever. But she was on a track with Jay Electronica while he was hot and Joel Ortiz while he was hot. And she had the best verse on that joint. Like, like back up in the spot and the V is for Vendetta. Like she ripped that shit. This album trust me, if you've never heard of Jean Grey and you press play on this joint, you will not be disappointed. It's I'm not even going to get into naming songs because it does not matter. The whole shit is hot. Like I didn't have to skip anything. I hadn't heard in a while, obviously for the show. I was like, well, let me listen to it, kind of refresh my memory. And it was like hearing the songs for the first time. And when you talk about skill, you talk about one thing I like about Jean Grey, right? She may come across as one of those harder versions of female MCs, but she adds a little sex appeal into her bars as well.
Yeah.
And femininity, and you can hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, joint love thirst.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely a dope album you should check out. If you haven't heard it, it's definitely worth your time. I guarantee you, if you're a hip hop fan, when you hear this, if you've never heard of Jean Grey, you will become a Jean Grey fan. And she ain't never fell off. Like, honestly, even her new shit, she still spits. Tone, the album Genius featuring Ninth Wonder. What were your thoughts on that? And what's your recommendation for this week?
Yeah, it was dope, man. I remember she came down to Cat's Cradle here in outside of Chapel Hill, Carrboro area, North Carolina, and she performed a lot of the joints on the album with Knife doing one of these underground shows back there. It might have been a Little Brother show or something like that, but yeah, she came and did a lot of the songs on that joint, man. And I'm a Jean Grey fan. It's a dope album, dope boom bap beat. She killed every verse as usual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, check that out. Check all her albums out. I just posted on Facebook and Twitter just yesterday my love for Jean Grey and that she's one of the dopest slept on. I hate that a lot of people have missed out on so much of her music, but the good thing about technology, you can go back and revisit it. So I posted that on Facebook and Twitter, man. She's awesome. My pick is Rhapsody's Crown album. It's kind of like an EP kind of thing, but it's 10 songs. Crown is very dope production. Man, it's a song on there called I'm Gonna Miss You, featuring Raphael Sadiq. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that sample, Raphael Sadiq used to call in a night radio show way back in the day. So they built a relationship up way early Little Brother time. And he gave them that joint. He told me, like, yo, he'll talk to Raphael Sadiq. That's a Raphael Sadiq. That was a song. And he gave Knife that I'm gonna miss you, the whole hook and all that. Oh, that's part of his song. He gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? And Knife used it on that Rhapsody album, man. And then there's another track on there called 2 a.m. featuring Ab Soul. And let me tell you something. Her and Ab Soul killed that track. And then the last like 30, 45 seconds of the track, Knife did that Maxwell something sample. And it is a killer. You know what I'm saying? It's the Maxwell joint from the Love Jones soundtrack. And Rhapsody did like a little verse at the end going off. And I was like, oh, I wish this would have been a separate song also. You know what I'm saying? But that Crown album is dope. 2016 is when it dropped. Rhapsody is one of the most consistent rappers in the history of the culture. I know you might think it's hyperbole, but it's not. Google Rhapsody and look at how many albums and mixtapes and extended plays she's dropped in her career. And you can match that up with almost anybody. She has more work than almost everybody. But trust me, she on some KRS-One shit. You know what I'm saying? So check that out, man. But Crown was dope, man. Did you ever hear the Crown, Faye?
Yeah, man. Like the minute I learned about Rhapsody, I was every project, man. I'd be on it because she puts out quality music. You know what I'm saying? Lyrically, she does her thing, and she always has production to match it. And it always, and whether it's the bars or the production or the marriage of the two, her music always sounds perfect, like it was done with purpose, as opposed to just writing rhymes and just getting a beat and saying here's a project. And I liked it because, like you said, man, she puts out work, and the majority of the time you're going to be satisfied. I'm rarely dissatisfied with a Rhapsody release, and obviously I put in my top 5. So yeah, Crown was dope, man. But if you've never heard Crown by Rhapsody or Genius by Jean Grey, do yourself a favor, check that music out, listen to it. Maybe you weren't a fan before. Maybe you'll become a fan after listening to that. It's okay if you don't, but definitely go out and check out that music, man, because the ladies have been putting in work since the beginning of hip hop, like we already said. That's going to do it for us. You can follow this podcast, whether it's the video version or audio version, by visiting intothedome.com. Please know that the audio version of this podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. So it doesn't matter if it's Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. All you got to do is search for Hip Hop Now and hit that subscribe button and get locked in. We got about 65 to 66 shows talking about everything. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to hear more about Lil Kim and Foxy, like, damn, y'all kind of said something, but you went on, we did a whole episode on it. You know what I'm saying? And the Beehive came out, it was all in the comments. Me and Tone just let them fight. As long as they was hitting play on the on the show, we ain't really care. But it was a dope discussion, you know what I'm saying? So definitely on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, check out the other episodes. But on behalf of the homie Tony of intothedome.com, I'm Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast. Go out and support real hip hop. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.